Have you ever felt like you're doing all the right things? You've taken the courses, you've hired the coaches, you've listened to the podcast, you've been watched YouTube videos, all the gurus on YouTube. You have the strategy down pat, but your business still isn't growing. And you know that you're qualified. You know God has called you to coach, but you're wondering, okay, where are the clients? Why haven't I seen the clients? Like, it's not that you're not qualified. You know you are. But your confidence, your clarity, your conviction, it's not going to come from more information. It's actually going to come from alignment, right? And that alignment will then lead to acceleration. In this episode of the Daily Dose, I'm going to be breaking down for you how my client, who just started working with me for 2 weeks, she was able to accelerate. She got into alignment and she was able to accelerate her business. And she's been a coach for 2 years. And even within those 2 years, she never signed clients. And just after 2 weeks of working with me, she signed her first client and has already begun coaching this client. And she's excited. I'm excited. We're all excited. And I'm just like, yes, this is what it's about. It's about alignment so that you can then accelerate. And so what she did is her business got CPR. Okay. Her business got CPR. CPR is my 3-step framework that I walk my clients through. And honestly, she hasn't even gotten through the entire thing yet because she's only 2 weeks in, but she's already seen expansive acceleration in her business, right? And it's because of this 3-step process. And I'm telling you, you want to do the same. I'm going to break it down to you in this live stream, and you're going to figure out, you're going to be able to see how she was able to sign her first client in 2 weeks. Okay. After 2 years of trying. And so the Daily Dose is divine overflow of spirit-led empowerment. Hi, Janel Ranée. I am your faithologist. I'm a certified life and business mindset coach, and I help you to transition into coaching full-time without self-sabotaging, without chasing clients, without fighting the algorithm, without sacrificing time with your family, right? So you want to get to consistent 5 to 10K months in your business, in your coaching business, but every time you take a step forward, you're taking 2 steps back. And we're going to break down exactly how you can actually revive your business, no matter how long you've been in business. My client, she was in business for 2 years and hadn't seen clients coming in, and just with my CPR framework, she was able to revive her business. All right. And so the CPR is an acronym. And so the first step of my CPR framework is what the first thing she did was realign with her creator for clarity on her calling. And so this is always step number 1. And I'm always going to point my clients back to the Lord, because God is our creator, right? So only your creator can tell you why he created you. I can give you resources. I can give you steps. I can give you the thought-provoking questions to really invoke the process, right? To help you with the process. But it's really in you seeking God, right? Matthew 6:33 says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and all his righteousness, right? And all these things will be added on to you. And so no matter what, I'm always going to have a kingdom first blueprint, because when you are, especially as a kingdom entrepreneur, we have to understand that it's so vital that we seek God before anything else. We seek him first in our lives, in our business, in our health, in our family, whatever area of your life, you seek God first. And so that is the first thing we do. And I do have, like I said, systems and processes that the Lord has bestowed onto me that I help my clients and guide them through, right? So one of the things that I have my clients do is, the first step is a purpose pinpointer. So it's a 6-step process. And it's ultimately really being able to really do a deep dive into your passions, right? Listing out your passions, your proficiencies, and a painful experience, maybe like a few painful, life-changing experiences that you've overcome. And from that, that's going to really invoke and really highlight what your purpose will be, right? And then from there, we now look into, okay, what was that painful experience? Then we take that information and we really dissect your audience, right? Now you're looking towards your audience and you're like, all right, who am I called to serve with my purpose work? And so You take your purpose work, what lights you up, the passions, the proficiencies that you have, and now you're really dissecting, okay, your audience's pain, right? What is their deep pain? What are their deep pleasures, right? And that is that gap between their pain and their pleasure, what will bring them the most pleasure right now? What is their deepest pain? That gap in between there is the problem. The problem is they're in this painful experience and they want to get over into this pleasure, right? They're in hell, they want to get to heaven, right? They have a problem, they want their problem solved. This is the gap. That problem is the gap. And so you, as a coach, something that you've been able to overcome, now you're able to guide them. And so this is like just the first step, right? It's only the first step. It's really diving deep and making sure that the business that you're building is in alignment with your God-given purpose. I often say that you can have all the money in the world, you can have a beautiful business and, have the freedom, have the time freedom, have the financial freedom. But if you are not actually walking out your God-given purpose, if you are not realigned with your creator and stepping into your calling, and you don't have clarity on your calling, you can have all the money, but you will not have fulfillment, right? If you are not operating in the fullness of why you've been created, you're never going to feel fulfilled. You're never going to be living up to your purpose work. And so it doesn't matter what you have and what you've achieved. If you're not actually fulfilling the plans and the purpose God has for you, you'll never have that sense of fulfillment. And so this is why I work with my clients to really be able to go through my treasure trial process, my purpose pinpointer, and really building out their simplified sales funnel. I'm sorry, that's one of the steps, but building out their signature framework is what I meant to say. And so inside of my coaching program, the treasure trial helps you to really be able to establish your signature framework, right? You craft your signature framework and we package it into a premium offer. So your process becomes crystal clear. All right. You'll finally know exactly who you serve, how you serve them, and how to sell it with ease. And once you have this clarity, I'm telling you, it's going to invoke such a confidence. My client, she for years was so confused on who her audience was. She's been through a lot of trials, but what is it? What was God calling her to in this season? Right. So it's like your purpose is always calling. So it's like all of our purposes are the same. It's always to exhort God, to please God and serve others with the gifts and the talents that He's given to us. Right. However, our callings are different. And so this is why you need clarity on your calling. So yeah, you're called to coach, but who are you called to coach? Your calling is different. Your calling could be to children. Your calling could be to moms. Your calling could be to marriages. Your calling could be to it's specific to an audience. And so this is why we do the work to really have that clarity, because once you have that clarity, you craft your signature framework and you package it into a premium offer. This clarity is going to really be able to allow you to have that confidence, that conviction, that certainty when you're showing up to market and sell your offer. All right. And so this is the first step, right? That is the C, realigning with your creator for clarity. The second thing you're going to do is the P, which is refine your message to align with your purpose, right? So that's what my client did. She refined her message to align with her purpose. And so this is all about marketing, your marketing message, really dissecting and knowing who it is that you're talking to, knowing their pain points, knowing what it is that they desire, knowing the things that they go through every day, their frustrations, the hiccups that they're having every day. And it's really important that you establish your macro message, like what's the overall objective transformation of your coaching program. You have to have clarity. If you don't have clarity, your audience will not have clarity. And so when you show up and you're able to have that overarching macro message and overcome objections from the very beginning, that's going to help your clients to really be able to know you, like you, and trust you because they resonate with your story, right? And so inside of this module, inside of this framework, this step is where you really do the work to do a deep dive in your story, right? in the treasure trial framework, you have your trial, you have your triumph, and you create a trail. But then it's important to take that message from your trial and your triumph and create your testimony. This is the origin story. People connect to your story. Yes, you have a framework, but how did you discover that framework, right? What is the origin story of your framework? How did you overcome this trial? How did you triumph over it, right? How did you create this 3 to 5 step process that you're going to walk me through? People want to hear your story so that they can see themselves in your story. This is why like Pixar movies and just movies overall do so well. It's because people see themselves in the story, right? They see themselves. They can say, oh, well, if she was able to do it, then I can do it as well. This is why Jesus spoke in a lot of parables, right? He took a lot of everyday scenarios and painted the picture and helped you to really see what he was actually saying, right? He spoke in parables, and it's the same thing in business. You want to sell with stories. And this is why we do the work inside of this phase, is to really be able to align your message with your God-given purpose. One of my coaches, she always says, the message is the message. Like there's this message that God has given to you. There's a core message that God has given to you to speak, and it's from your trial, it's from your pain. And your pain often births purpose. And so this is why in the first step, this is the work that we're doing. It's really going back to maybe a painful season in your life and really pulling the purpose from that. We're finding the treasure in the trial that you've been able to overcome. And so when you're able to develop this magnetic messaging, it's really going to help your clients to really magnetize to you. It draws them in because they see themselves. You're speaking to the same thoughts that they're having, the same emotions that they're having, the same actions that they're taking or not taking. You're speaking to that, right? And also in this phase, I often share, like I teach on how important it is to speak to your best clients and not to your blah clients. I'm not going to go into it, but it is my blah versus best framework, where it's like you want to make sure that you're speaking to people who are not hesitant and who are ready to take action, right? You're calling in the action takers, right? You're not calling in browsers, you're calling in buyers. And there's specific language that you use when you're speaking to buyers and not browsers. All right. And so that is what we do inside of this phase, right? This is what she did. She was able to refine her message to align with her God-given purpose. And so when you master magnetic story selling messaging, when you do this so your content exudes clarity and confidence. She was so confident after 2 years of not knowing what to say, or, not knowing who she was talking to, and really just having this hesitancy when it came to showing up and marketing her business. Now she's able to, she started connecting authentically with her audience, right? When you do that, when you have that confidence, when you have that clarity, you start connecting authentically. You show up authentically. You share your story. You share what you feel comfortable sharing, obviously, that will connect with your audience. And so they feel that conviction because you're speaking from your lived experience. You're not just speaking about things you read in a book or things you watched on a YouTube channel, or you're not just sharing that, you're sharing your lived experience. So this comes with a conviction that they feel. Okay. And when they feel this conviction and they feel your clarity, they feel your certainty, and you're exuding this confidence, this is what leads to conversions, right? Sales is really just a transfer of belief. It's a transfer of value, and it really comes with your belief systems. And so as I'm helping my clients to build out their blueprint in their business, we're also working on your belief systems and your body safety, because this is what's going to allow you to be able to feel comfortable to sustain the business that God wants to bless you with, right? He's already blessed you with it, but can you handle it? And so when you are able to have the belief systems, right, reprogramming any subconscious blocks that are hindering your business growth, and really be able to feel comfortable in your body to show up, right? And this comes with clarity and conviction and confidence. And so that is the P. That is the P. Refining your message to align with your purpose. And then the final letter is the R, which what she did was she revived her business with purpose-led revenue, right? So it's so important that you understand, like I shared earlier, you can have a booming business, but there's a lot of people out there who have all the money in the world, but they're still miserable. They're not happy because it's not in alignment with their purpose. They still feel like they're hitting their head against the wall, because it's like, I have all this wealth, I have all this, I can travel, I can do whatever, but they don't have that inner peace that only comes when you're working and operating in your God-given purpose, when you're doing what God placed you on this earth to do. There's no feeling like it. There's no feeling like it. And this is why it's so imperative for me to help my clients to align with their God-given purpose work. It does no one any good if you're out here just doing a business just to make money. It really doesn't do any good for you or your clients, because it's like you're not fulfilling your purpose work, right? And this is so important to me. It's so important to me. Like, I'm not going to I want to make sure that the business that you're growing is what God wants for you. And so this is why it's the first step, is to realign with your creator for clarity on your calling. Okay. And so this third phase, reviving her business with purpose-led revenue, is vital, because what it is once you have that confidence and you're showing up with conviction, like I said, it's going to lead to conversions. And when you build out a simplified sales funnel, you'll experience the same acceleration when you align your faith, strategy, and systems. Clarity and confidence replaces confusion. All right. For years, she was confused, but now within 2 weeks, she's had clarity and confidence to show up. She had the belief system behind her offer. So when you do that, clients begin to flow in effortlessly, because you have the belief system to really anchor your business, right? And so the moment that belief meets blueprint, this is when your business is going to explode. It's going to accelerate. It's going to accelerate because your business is now backed by belief. Your belief system is responsible for 95% of your actions. Your subconscious mind is responsible for 95% of your actions. And so I always speak about this. I spoke about it yesterday, but it's so important to know, like, people feel your energy. They feel your frequency. When you show up confident, when you show up knowing that you know your stuff, like, I've lived through this experience. I can guide you. I have a trail for you. Like, I have a framework that you can also go through. When you have that confidence, that is what people feel. They feel your energy. They feel the frequency from which you're speaking, right? Your words, your thoughts, everything has energy. And if your thoughts are like filled with doubt, right? You're saying words, but if subconsciously you're filled with doubt, people are going to feel that. They're not going to be able to put their finger on it, but they're going to sense that something is off with what you're saying. It's not necessarily what you're saying, but it's the energy, it's the energetic, it's the frequency behind the words that you're saying. Do you even believe what you're saying? If you don't believe what you're saying, your audience is not going to believe it either. And if they don't believe it, they're not going to feel led to purchase from you. And so this is why it's so important to do this inner work, to heal your nervous system, regulate your nervous system, so you feel safe showing up, so you feel safe handling success, so you feel safe with more wealth. There's a lot of subconscious blocks there that I help my clients to really be able to uproot. And I have systems. I have my SAFE protocol. I have my root system that really helps you to get deep and to do the inner work as you're building, right? Because your business will only grow to the extent of your belief system and your body safety. If your body doesn't feel safe, it's not going to be able to sustain the business that you're praying for. All right. And so this is how my client did it. This is exactly how my client was able to revive her business. Her business got CPR. All right. This is how my client signed her first client in just 2 weeks of working together after 2 years of trying. Okay. And so the CPR that her business received was realigned with her creator for clarity on her calling. Number 1, realigning with our Heavenly Father. Number 2, refined her message to align with her God-given purpose. And then number 3, revived her business with purpose-led revenue. All right. And so inside of the Business by Belief Accelerator, I help you to transition into coaching full-time without chasing clients, fighting the algorithm, self-sabotaging, or sacrificing time with your family. So I do want to encourage you to go ahead and check in the description for the application. You can apply. I am still taking applications for the Business by Belief Accelerator. And I'm really excited to really review your application and to see how you can also flourish in your business, flourish in your coaching business, establish your offer, having a compelling offer, having converting messaging, right? Because you need marketing. Marketing is the heartbeat of your business, and also having a simplified sales funnel that allows your clients to flow in, right? So it's having that compelling offer, having the converting messaging, and having consistent sales. This is what allows your business to truly thrive. And this is what we set up inside of the Business by Belief Accelerator. All right. And so this is what I have for you. I pray that this video has been truly a blessing for you. And I look forward to seeing you inside of the Business by Belief Accelerator. All right. Have a blessed day. Before I go, I'm going to tell you, just as God told me, put one foot in front of the other, step out on faith, and trust God for the next step. I'll see you in the next daily dose. See ya.